Should be live?
We are not live. Oh, there we are.
Yeah, delay. Okay. Welcome, everyone. We are excited tonight, but before we get started on tonight's presentation, I just want to remind everybody that you have until the 9th to register for the conference. And so this year it's going to be held 11th and 12th. And you can also attend virtually. So if you can't make it in person, sign up virtually. And Kay can correct me, but I believe those videos will be available to watch after the conference.
I do not believe so.
No? Okay, not this year.
Not this year.
Okay. Okay. So yeah, you're either going to need to attend and watch them as they are there, or you're gonna miss out on a lot. There's great presentations. And so visit the website, sign up. If you guys have any questions, let us know. Um, I think that is it for now, but we're excited. Kay is going to talk about organizing your genealogy, which I have my paper ready to take notes. So I'm just going to let you take it away, Kay.
Thanks. That's a good start. All righty. Let's see here. Fire up this PowerPoint. Can you see it?
Yep, we can.
Okie dokie. Great. Okay. So let's get it together. Organizing genealogical records traditionally and digitally. Let's see, I'm just going to move my little screen around here real quickly. Okay. Let's see. Here's a little bit about me. And I won't stay on the screen too long. I am an accredited genealogist professional, and I live in East Central Indiana. I have been fascinated by family history since I was about 9, and then I took a keen interest in genealogy about 22 years ago. And then 12 years ago, I began studying in earnest to elevate my passion into a career. Before becoming a professional genealogist, though, I worked for 19 years as a certified medical transcriptionist at the local hospital. And that occupation required a great amount of research, which also ties into genealogy. I consider myself blessed to have had 2 careers I have thoroughly enjoyed. And in both positions, I've been able to help others. So, why is organization of your genealogical records important? First is to preserve your family history. So, it's recording your family stories. You write it down, type it up, or you can record an oral history. It makes it easier to find information. So, when you go back 5 generations, you're looking at 31 individuals' records. And those are just your direct lineage. So you, your parents, your grandparents, your great grandparents, and your great great grandparents. It helps you share information with others, and inevitably you will meet a distant cousin at some point. So just remember from like Sesame Street, share and share alike, and it helps to avoid duplication of effort. After you have downloaded and printed the same census 3 or 5 or 10 different times, you'll begin to recognize the importance of organization. So it's a work smarter, not harder situation. Ways to organize your genealogical records. Create a system that works for you. And your own system is unique. Is it files and notebooks? Is it all on your computer and accessible wherever you go? Is it a stack for each family placed strategically around your office? Or is it a mix of all the above? Use a consistent format for all your records. Consistency is key. For example, women married and changed their surnames. try to get in the habit of organizing your females using their maiden surname and then cross referencing with their married surname. Store your records in a safe place. If you're a traditionalist, think about fire and waterproof containers, maybe even a safe deposit box at your bank, or keep a hard copy at a relative's or friend's home. Digital storage does take up less space, and you can store multiple copies in multiple places, such as flash drives, external hard drives, and cloud storage. And back up your records regularly. A good rule of thumb is the first of every month. So today's April 1st. That's no joke. Time to back up your records. So if you're storing your hard copies off-site, you will need to set reminders to add new documents or photos to any collections you store elsewhere. And it's fairly easy to back up digital files, but setting reminders for those backups is helpful too. Tips for organizing genealogical records. Use a genealogy software program to help you organize your records. So, software programs include Roots Magic, Family Tree Maker, WikiTree, and Legacy Family Tree. And a little later, I'll share some screenshots from my data in Roots Magic. Create a family group sheet for each family. Family group sheets are helpful when you want to see a family relationship, parents, children, grandparents, and spouses. These forms group birth, marriage, and death information for each individual in a consistent format. Use a source citation format to document your sources. And citations are extremely important, especially if you're sharing information you have found. Citations should be consistent and lead the reader to where you found the information. And a little later, I'll show some examples. And keep your records updated as you learn new information. And when we discuss backups, keeping your records updated as you gain new evidence is an important facet of your organization. Software options and other media. Software to use on your computer acts as a hybrid organizational system using traditional methods mixed with a digital infrastructure. We will explore Family Search and MyHeritage in a bit, as well as personal software such as Roots Magic. And a good place to find books about genealogy is your local library, and before you invest in your own hard copies. Well-known authors include Elizabeth Shown Mills, Dr. Thomas Jones, Blaine Bettinger, and Judy Russell. A great online genealogical magazine is Family Tree Magazine at familytreemagazine.com. And genealogical society journals are great resources as well. So, traditional organization. And traditional, when I say traditional, I'm talking about information on paper, hard copies. And the picture on the screen is at my historical society. These are our surname files. And the boxes on top are archival storage boxes for our larger collections, surnames in our community that we have a lot of records on. So as mentioned previously, use cross-referencing or quote unquote see also in your surname files, especially for married women. Information about married women may be in her maiden surname file or her married surname file. So cross-referencing is a great way to make connections. And it's especially helpful when you have two or more people of the same name. Basically, at the Historical Society, we create individual folders for each surname. And it kind of helps group information about different branches of the family. And you could also do individual folders within the surname folders, kind of subfolders. and that would help with, especially with same named individuals. And then you could also use a binder system with dividers to organize documents and photos by surname or family line. Um, it's easy to expand and kind of keeps your related information together. Um, Eventually, though, you will probably outgrow a binder system, or you may need to build an addition onto your home. So, family group sheets, they can be handwritten or typed, and it's a standardized form, um, which shows certain things, like the husband's name and his information, his wife's name, her information, their marriage date, and their children's names and information. Pedigree charts also can be hand drawn or computer generated, and that creates a visual representation of your family tree. Um, so there are free forms and templates available um, online, and I provided the link to the National Genealogical Society's page where you can download the free forms and templates. Um, Downloading like a computer generated form. Most days these are fillable PDFs, so you can download the PDF, type your information in, save it, and then just leave it saved or print it as a hard copy. Or you can download it and print it and fill in the information by hand. So it's whatever you feel comfortable doing. Um, this is an example of a family group sheet on the left, and that generally provides 3 to 4 generations worth of information. So grandparents, parents, children, children's children. And the pedigree chart on the right shows one person's parents along with their vital information, and then it moves a generation backward. So if it begins with you, then your parents are listed, then your grandparents, and your great grandparents, and so on. This example shows a pedigree chart in portrait orientation. Sometimes it's a little more helpful if you use a landscape orientation with helps with spacing. And this is just what the National Genealogical Society website looks like for their free charts and templates. Um, the PDFs they offer are downloadable and fillable, so you can save them on your computer or print them out. You do need to create a free subscription account to access the PDFs. And while you're there, check out everything that NGS offers over on the left hand side of the screen. And just a little plug for NGS, they are having their annual conference in Indiana's neck of the woods in Louisville, Kentucky over Memorial Day weekend. So you might want to check that out too. Oh, source citations. They are a must when doing family history research. Um, and I'm not talking about the source citations you would need for a journal or a research report. I'm talking about a source citation that can help you or someone else find the information again. So, at the very least, note the following information about what you find: the who, the what, the when, the where, and the wherein. Or the who may be John Smith, the what may be his birth certificate, the when would be the date of birth, the where, the place of birth, and the wherein is the birth certificate at the health department or digitized online. The manual Evidence Explained by Elizabeth Shown Mills is the ultimate guide for writing genealogical source citations. There's also an e-class available led by Lisa Stokes. And just a little story about when I tested for my accreditation. I studied the Lisa Stokes source citation method, and during the actual testing, when working on creating my 4-hour research report, I found that I did not have access to my citation template. So I wrote all my citations using techniques I learned through studying Lisa's method, and that was a huge help to me. Um, because if you've ever written a citation for a census record, it can get a little kind of hairy pretty quickly. So that is just my personal experience. And note taking. Um, my note taking is basically limited to thoughts I have as I analyze information. For example, I find a death certificate that lists the decedent's parents clearly, except the parents' names are not the ones I was expecting. So I will jot down a note that the names are possibly incorrect, who the informant was, and anything else that stands out to me about the document as a reminder to myself that I need to do further research to resolve that conflict. So there are many digital note-taking apps such as Microsoft OneNote, Evernote, and even the Notes app on your phone. You can also use just a dedicated notebook. Um, your genealogy software, and then you could keep your research notes with the relevant ancestor folders. So, tips for traditional organization, again, consistent labeling, regular review, and regular backups. And while these traditional methods are effective, many genealogists now supplement them with digital tools like genealogy software and online family tree databases. And I guess the key thing to remember is to choose a system that best suits your research style and the amount of information you're collecting. Um, it is unique to you and it may involve some trial and error before you get it right. So, digital organization. A digital organization of your genealogical records is just what it sounds like, downloading information or scanning hard copies and saving them on your computer's hard drive, an external hard drive, in genealogy software, or in the cloud, or a mix of all the above. A flash drive can be used, and that's fine for temporary storage. So, genealogy software that can be loaded onto your computer with disks, or more commonly nowadays, it's downloaded from the cloud. Available software is powerful. It combines many tools to help with organization, as well as writing, creating charts and graphs, and analysis. So personally, I use Roots Magic 9, though version 10 has been released. Family Tree Builder is through MyHeritage and syncs to your family search family tree. So, some key features with these programs, you can create your family tree. So, you can visually represent your family relationships. You can enter ancestral data. You can attach sources. You can search and report. And then I noted the popular options of Roots Magic and Family Tree Builder. So this is a screenshot of my Roots Magic family tree. I have color coded different family lines. Like my maternal is red and my paternal is blue. And so at a glance, I can see the first 6 generations from me back to my third great grandparents. On the left hand side of the screen, you can see a myriad of tools, places, sources, media tasks, publish, etc. In the lower left hand corner are links to Family Search and Ancestry. there is an index of names that I can use to go to any ancestor directly. And then I can open their screen and enter data as needed. And then over on the right-hand side, this bright yellow arrow that is pointing at a red exclamation point about my ancestor, Hannah Ann Fowler. So I'm going to go and see what the problem is with Hannah Ann Fowler. So I double clicked on her name to open up her data screen. The exclamation point was alerting me to a possible issue. The red circle on the left-hand side shows her age of 13 when she married, and that's the issue. The red circle on the right-hand side of the screen is the note field where I have entered data. The red rectangle shows the information I added about Hannah's age at marriage, including census information, in an effort to determine Hannah was older than 13 when she married William Hanby in 1837. So there are online family tree builders, and online family trees can be a quote unquote blurs, a blessing and a curse. Blessings come in the form of collaboration with distant cousins, the integration with online databases, and accessing your tree from any device without internet access. The curse is when someone comes along and makes changes to the tree with erroneous information. Now, I have heard through the grapevine that Family Search is looking into a way for someone to lock down their family tree, so keep an eye out for that. And I do have my family tree on Family Search, and I have noticed wrong information or non existent information linking ancestors. So my family search tree is synced to a tree on MyHeritage. I do not keep a tree on Ancestry.com. I just never got in the habit of doing so. So I typically use family search trees to look for Revolutionary War patriots, for ladies or gentlemen interested in joining a lineage society. This is a screenshot from my family search family tree showing my maternal grandmother's line. My maternal grandfather's line. I have confirmed the relationships between my second great grandfather all the way back to my sixth great grandfather. However, Family Search seems to think they know the parents of William Ballard. But to date, there is no evidence of William's parents, only that he was born circa 1715, and the birthplace is unknown. So I clicked on William Ballard, born 1715, to look at his sources, of which there are 16. Out of those 16 sources, the only primary source is a Quaker record of his marriage. And interestingly, Ballard's will is not added here, which gives his age and therefore his calculated year of birth. There are no sources that directly note his birth date or his parents that have come to light as of yet, and that includes DNA testing as well. So this is my heritage family tree synced with my family search family tree. And here I'm showing you a bit of my paternal side of the family in this shot. Since I typically don't work with my heritage family tree, I decided to click on my paternal grandmother to see what information they provided. So even though I clicked on my paternal grandmother, Gladys Laurel Maxwell, I noticed something interesting on my paternal grandfather's line, Harold C. Ford. I have documented my great, second great, and third great grandfathers back to John Ford. I've been unable to document John's father. Other people online think they know who he is, but the evidence is just not there. On this tree, John's parents are unknown, so that's a positive. And also, I knew John was married to a Mary Hill, but I have never found her parents. Now, on this tree, her parents and grandparents are listed. So, I have some work to do now to confirm those relationships. I'm pretty excited about that. So cloud storage. Now, I use my computer's hard drive and external hard drive, iDrive, Google Drive, and Dropbox. Amazon Photos backs up your pictures and videos. I have used iDrive for a number of years, but I am slowly switching over to Dropbox because Dropbox offers quite a few more features. And I do use flash drives or thumb drives for temporary storage. So, you can do backups on the cloud. You store your digital files, photos, documents, software files securely. Um, and they are accessible anywhere with an internet connection. Um, so examples are Google Drive, Dropbox, Amazon Photos, and iDrive. There we go. So the cloud. What is the cloud? It is a vast network of remote servers that store and process data for other devices and computers. And then I break it down there. And the basics are you can access it from anywhere. And there are different services storage, computing power, databases, software. So, um, online, what I learned is to think of it like a massive library with countless bookshelves, but instead of physically going to the library, you can access any book you want from your home. And that's just a very basic concept. So for storage, you could use Google Drive, Dropbox, iCloud. Software includes Google Docs, Microsoft 365, even Zoom, and streaming, such as Netflix and Spotify. So this is just a couple screenshots of my iDrive dashboard. I pay for 5 terabytes of storage, and I have used all of 10% so far, and that's approximately $100 a year. Um, there are add-ons available, such as Microsoft Office 365 and a Dropbox backup, and I schedule my backups daily. Um, so here is the backup of my on my iDrive, the cloud backup. And these are different computers I've backed up. So I have 5 different computers over time. And that composes the 10% of my 5 terabytes. And this is my cloud drive. And these are the folders that I can access. This is my Dropbox dashboard. So I went in and I checked my camera uploads folder, and those images go back to 2015. So that is 10 years of digital pictures. What I do like about Dropbox is the create option. So I clicked on create, and I'm really enjoying all these things you can do, which includes like screen recording, presentation, which uses PowerPoint, spreadsheets. You can create documents, folders, upload, um, import from Google Drive. In the past, I used a free version of Dropbox so that I could share files with other people. And I'm just using a basic paid version now, and even that basic version is probably more robust than what I need. Google Drive is also very powerful. Um, I'm going to show you my personal reference guide that I created when I went through accreditation testing. Um, and I tested in the US Great Lakes region. So I studied 5 different states: Illinois, Indiana, Michigan, Ohio, and Wisconsin. So, um, if you have Google Mail, Gmail, um, you click on the 9-dot grid, the first arrow, and you click on Drive. Google Drive should open in what's called My Drive, and there you can see folders and files. So if someone has shared a file or folder with you, it will be located under Shared with Me. And in the red circle, that is my folder for my personal research or reference guide. So clicked on that, double clicked on that, and these are folders I created for accreditation testing. And earlier when I mentioned I couldn't find my citation template, it's because I looked under in my templates folder, it wasn't there. I'll circle back to that here in a few minutes. So out of all these subfolders, I'm just going to click on US/state reference guides. And there we open up and we have more subfolders, one for each of the states, the Northwest Territory, and just a general folder, and kind of a quick guides down here in the files. So I double clicked on Indiana, and my Indiana folder has things that I have uploaded to the folder, and actually a document I created, just titled Indiana. And I created this document for my testing. So I double click on that, and it's a Google document, a Google Doc. It opens up, it has 21 pages. And in those 21 pages, I have added all sorts of information. Information about each county, like on this screen, migration routes, a map of Indiana with all the counties, where the capital is, the date Indiana was officially created. I have links and tables and all kinds of information in this 21-page document. This screenshot on the upper left, those are our 92 counties and whether or not they had courthouse disasters. I have a chart of religious denominations in 1906 in Indiana. And those are just a couple of the miscellaneous pieces of information I have on hand. And I've done that for each of the 5 states. So, cross referencing in Google Drive. I mentioned cross referencing earlier and how it's especially helpful with items such as marriage records or wills. So, in Google Drive is super easy to cross reference. So, for example, I have a document in the folder Quick Record References, and I would like to also have that in the Document Interpretation Resources folder. So, I click on 3 dots on the Latin terms file, which is the file in Quick Record References I want to cross reference. And after I click on the 3 dots, I have a list of options, and Organize with its little arrow reveals a secondary menu of options, one being Add a Shortcut. So when I click on that option, Google Drive gives me a list of my recently opened folders. I don't see the folder I need, but I know that it's under Research Reference Guide. So hovering over the arrow at the right shows View Contents. So I click on View Contents, and all the folders in the Research Reference Guide are listed. I clicked once on number 6, which is the Document Interpretation Resources folder, to highlight it, and the word Add appears. I clicked on Add, and my Latin terms document was shared to that folder. In the Document Interpretation Resources folder, I now see Latin terms, with a small curved arrow just before the name in that little red circle. That tells me it is shared elsewhere in my drive. Hovering over it will tell you if any changes have been made to the document, but it won't tell you where else it is shared. So when you double click on Files in Google Drive, they will open in a separate window. Your drive will remain open, so once you are finished with the file, you can close it and you'll still be in your drive. Above, I'm in the Document Interpretation Resources folder in my drive, but I need to go back to my templates folder. So by clicking Research Reference Guide, which is in between my drive and the Document Interpretation Resources folder, you will get back to that folder. Clicking My Drive takes you back to everything you have in your drive. If I double clicked and opened German Resources, here with the green folder, it would appear on the folder menu after Document Interpretation Resources. So I could just click on the Doc Interpretation Resources folder to get back to that. You can also search, filter, and find help by clicking the question mark very easily. And so, in short, what I'm trying to say is you can use this toolbar to get back to different folders. So, after I completed my AG testing, I looked through my Google Drive and I did find my citation template. It was in a different folder. So that I just chalked that up to nerves that I didn't find it the first time around. So, I showed you Google Drive for my my research reference guide, but you could use it to create folders and subfolders for your genealogical records. Um, in my case, I would probably start with two main folders, maternal and paternal, and then add subfolders to them. You could also add folders to collect social data about where your ancestors lived, what they did for a living, where they worshiped, basically anything. You could have folders for collateral ancestors, and those are the siblings of your direct ancestors, or fan folders, friends, acquaintances, and neighbors. And you can see how quickly your research can build and grow on this screen where I started with main folders. I started with myself and then paternal and maternal, and then subfolders for each generation. And it winds up being 63 folders just for direct ancestors going back to the fifth generation. That's quite a bit. So, digital file management. Again, consistent file naming. And I really cannot say enough about file naming. Consistency is great. Just get a name on the file so that you can find it later, either from memory or you can use your search function. Regular backups, they're easy these days and they can be scheduled. And like I said earlier, some people choose the first day of the month. So I gave some examples of my file naming pattern. Um, and this is just how you find whatever works for you. So this is a birth certificate for Harold Ford, born 1917. A marriage record for Harold and Gladys. They married 1946. And for multiple page documents, I typically add a 001, 002 for each page, giving it the same file name, just different page number. Um, so it's basically, I guess my thought process is what word will I think of to find this document again? Um, so, is it going to be Harold? Um, I think he's the only one in my database, the only Harold. So, William Ballard. William's fairly common, so I'd probably go with Ballard, even though I have a lot of Ballards. Um, so it's like I said, it's kind of unique to you how you decide to name your files, but um, I suppose anything's better than having the WP and a string of numbers after it, especially when you're trying to relocate it. Um, and just try to keep your software updated and be mindful of privacy settings. So, organizing your genealogical records is an important part of preserving your family history. And by following these tips, you can create a system that works for you and makes it easier to find and share information with others. So, start with a basic system, start with yourself, and organize information about yourself in a manner that feels comfortable for you. It could be chronological, it could be by record or event type. You might want to have a miscellaneous folder for items that you aren't quite sure where to file them, but you don't want to lose them either. So don't be afraid to experiment with different methods until you find one that works for you. And of course, ask for help from other genealogists if you need it. We're here to help. We like to see people succeed. Um, and there is a lot of help on the internet for organizing tips and tricks, as well as in books and magazines. And another great way to learn some new ideas is to attend a seminar or conference and network with others. So we have a book here, Becoming an Excellent Genealogist. We have Family Tree Magazine, which is available online, and the flyer for our upcoming annual conference in a couple weeks. So I am going to share this screen. Um, our annual conference is just right around the corner, and it's a wonderful way to network, learn, and research. You can find more information at www.indgensoc.org. Just scroll down for events, or you can um, pause the screen when the recording is up and take a picture of the QR code on the flyer, and that should take you to our website on your mobile device. And the conference this year is sponsored in part by Vivid Pics, who will also be offering a door prize during the conference. So watch for details about that. And I have added their URL up here also. And um, once this recording is up, you can pause this anywhere through the presentation, and especially here if you want the QR code. So, just thank you for coming along on my organizational journey, and I wish you well on your own journey. And if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. There's my contact information on the screen, and I am um, ready for questions. Thank you.
That was great, Kay. Now I need to go to my Google Drive because I've never organized it. So now I know what I'll be doing tonight.
It I kind of went down some rabbit holes when I organized my research reference guide. And for those of you who don't know, um, genealogical accreditation testing, you can have um, a digital file like on a flash drive. Um, to refer to during the testing. You can bring in a binder, books, notes. Um, you can't access your Google Drive during the test, but you can have it, you can download it to a flash drive, which is what I did.
Little tidbit to know.
It's very helpful. It's um people, you create this research guide,
Yeah,
and I think it's in the creating the guide that you learn, because during the testing you don't have a ton of time to look up answers. So, and ICAP Gen, the credentialing body, they want you to succeed. So,
I think
any
a lot of us were
questions?
looking at all your folders. Carol said it'd be wonderful to see some of those documents that you have there.
I for Indiana, I only had those 7 because I'm strongest in Indiana. Um, but for Wisconsin and Michigan, just anything I found out on the internet that I thought could help me,
Yeah,
I
you put
added
on
to that
there.
drive.
Well, it's good
And
because
yeah,
you can also share the drive, correct?
uh-huh.
So if you're
Yep.
working with an aunt or whatever, then you can
hmm
both have access to those documents.
Correct. Yes, you could have a Google Doc open and 2 or more people are within the document in real-time editing.
Oh, really?
hmm You
Oh,
have
wow.
different, it'll change your cursor color, and that's really helpful when you're doing like a group project
Yeah.
kind of brainstorming thing.
I think some of us are going to have to go back and rewatch your presentation a couple times.
I know that it was a lot of for me learning how to move around in Google Drive. It was a lot of trial and error.
Yeah.
So once you figure it out, there's just a tiny learning curve. Uh, that's what I
Yeah,
had.
being able to tag it kind of in 2 different folders.
hmm The cross referencing.
Yeah.
There's that's I had to teach myself how to get back to different folders. I'd be out in these subfolders 4 or 5 levels down, and think I just need to get back to the beginning, and I figured it out. And so trying to explain it's a little difficult. So yeah, I'm glad this is recorded so you can pause and
Yeah. Pause it and go back. Yeah. Because
look at
I've
my
been trying
screens.
to organize on Notion.
Uh-huh.
So I've kind of got it on Notion where I have
Mhm.
like my database. So
Uh-huh. I know there are so many different programs and platforms out there that it's impossible
yeah.
to cover them all. And Google
Yeah. I
Drive
almost
is,
think you just
yeah.
have to like pick 1 or 2 and then just go for it and organize. Because it's
hmm
like you can go to one, organize it, and be like, well, maybe I'll try this instead. But it's almost
hmm
like you gotta just stick on.
Yeah. You gotta find one that fits for you.
Yeah. Because I
And
noticed too, like eventually, like especially with AI coming into some of them, that
Mhm.
you might not have that little tool in your kit yet,
Right.
whatever you're using, but it's going to eventually get there.
hmm It will. That's what I like about Dropbox. It has those tools built in, whereas my iDrive, I'd have to pay extra for. So it probably all
Yes.
equals out in the wash.
Yeah, yeah.
So I've been with iDrive for a good number of years. I mean, I've backed up 5 different computers. So, and the computer I'm on now, I'm probably getting ready to go to a new one. So I almost have 6, and I've only used a fraction of the space. But it is helpful when I'm not at home. I can access what I have here on my home computer somewhere else.
Makes a big difference, especially, like with us all going to Indiana for the conference. We go to the research center,
Yep.
we can just pull it up there without having
Mhm.
to, get on the internet, look at all the stuff. But
That's probably one, I don't know if it really has to do with organization, but um, whenever you go offsite to research, try to remember to grab a flash drive and have it in your pocket. And unless you're already carrying one with you, because I don't. And I have to remind myself to take one with me when I go to Allen County or wherever.
it made a portable desk bag. So I
Yes.
just keep everything in there.
uh, your go bag.
Yeah, my to-go bag. It's already prepped. It's ready for the next trip.
Awesome. Yes, we'll be in Indiana. So,
Yeah. We hope all of you guys are going to come. It's going to be a good one.
mhm.
So
Yep.
I
Um,
missed out last year, but I'll be there this year.
I know uh the since we went to the new website, um, we didn't want to record sessions and then try to get them up on the website. It was just kind
Um,
of too much for us this year.
Too much for
So,
this year. So maybe
yeah.
next year.
hmm Yeah.
Yeah,
So
that makes sense.
it is it's a learning environment
Mm.
with the new website, and it's a really powerful website, and it just takes a little learning curve.
Yeah, we've got
No,
kinks to work out, but it'll get there.
hmm so far so good. I did some research on the IGS website a couple of days ago, actually, for someone who had come into our historical society, and I thought, those records might be on IGS, so I look for them there.
There you go. I don't think we have any more questions. Oh, John Afford said Family Search Library will always give you a complimentary 64 flash drive. So that's good to
Awesome.
know.
That's excellent.
Yeah,
How thoughtful. That's
yeah.
great.
Not everybody thinks of that. So bring your flash drive.
Cool. Well, I'm going to stop sharing my screen. There we go.
Okay. Yeah,
Cool.
yeah, it was. We even had Amy Johnson Crow on there.
Oh, yay.
She
Gosh.
hopped up there for a sec.
Oh, neat. Oh, that's awesome. So,
Yeah, it went really
yeah,
good.
terrific.
Very
Well,
good.
I can't think of anything else. Next month will be officers,
Yep.
IGS officers. Um, and then
Trying
June.
to look. I know. I'm trying to look to see, like, pull it up. Like
I don't.
June. I think we have Grave Geeks.
Yes.
Let me check. That's a group. Let's see here. Thing. Oh, it'll be on here. Yep. So June we have Grave Geeks, and then it looks like July. Looks like July we might have July or August we have Indiana albums. I don't know if you've
Mm.
seen them.
Is
Let's
that
see.
Joan? Joan
Mm,
Hostetler?
I think so.
Uh-huh.
I have so many names going through my head.
I worked with a lady today who found a photo album on Indiana albums for it was called the Indiana Epileptic or Indiana Village for Epileptics. It was here in Henry County, and it was here for I'd say at least 100 years, because this lady is doing research. And as a child and teenager, she grew up on the property. Her father was a superintendent at the time. So the epileptic village was actually built on Native American mounds. And it's kind of in this wooded area north of Newcastle. And so as a kid, she ran around, that was kind of her playground. And she remembered the Ball State University archaeology department. They came down and did digs with the mounds. And so we looked at all the reports. We have like 12 volumes of reports from those digs in the 70s. But anyways, she found a photo album of the epileptic village, and a picture of her old house was in that. So she brought it up on her phone, and I was like, "Oh yeah, that is really." And she said that that's new, that hasn't been on the internet before. So I said,
Really?
"Yeah, things
Yeah.
come out,
Things
you
come
know."
out all the time,
Mm-hmm.
all the time. So I have a correction to make. So we do have Meet the Board
Mm-hmm.
in May. And then June 3rd, we're actually doing talking about our new writer sig.
Okay.
And then July is Grave Geeks, and then
Okay.
August Indiana albums.
Yes, we'll have the Writers Sig meeting in mid-May, and then
Yeah,
we'll be talking about it in June. So,
yeah,
and that's a special interest group, SIG,
yep.
for
That's
people
going to
who,
be try to get people to write their stories.
Mhm.
That's our goal.
Yep, for the journal and the newsletter.
Yeah,
Yep. The journal editor, Joy Neighbors, she is anxious for articles, and um, articles uh, that are about 3,000 words in length. So,
this is your
it,
opportunity to share your ancestors' stories and make sure,
yep.
they live on. So,
Hmm. Great opportunity. And if it's 1,000 words or more, it's eligible for the IGS Genealogy Writing Award too. So that's always something to consider,
yeah,
you know. Um, but yeah, so we have some good meetings scheduled
yeah, we did.
coming up.
We've got a full calendar.
We,
So,
that's awesome.
yeah. So we'll get there and then start working on 2026. So if you guys, anyone has ideas, let us know.
Yep,
But yeah.
that's awesome. Thanks for hanging out tonight.
To everybody. And we hope to see everybody at the
Hmm.
conference. We know everyone can't make it, but if you can, try to,
Yeah.
at least come virtually.
Hmm.
You know, we'd love to see you however you want to come.
And you may even run into John Marie and I and
Yeah,
get your
we've
face
got
on
some
face.
things planned. Yeah, we've got some things planned. So
You get your
be sure to look for us.
we'll be there.
We'll be there. We'll be ready.
Awesome. All right. I'm gonna uh take us off Facebook Live, and it will be on YouTube in the next day or so. Thanks everyone.